Friends, colleagues and listeners, again, here we are, another podcast and a lovely couple of series, two episodes with Hactl Management. And the first manager representing Hactl is Joanna Li, who's the Executive Director, Commercial Business Development. Joanna, absolutely lovely to have you on board. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Chris.
Great. Now, Joanna, I think the first time I went to Hactl was back in the 80s. And I've always been impressed. And at the recent World Cargo Symposium, I had the privilege of doing another tour and having lunch with the senior management team, which was absolutely excellent. But it never ceases to amaze me the way you keep moving forward, stepping forward. The company as a whole, as a brand and a DNA, I've got to say, is really, really fantastic and hugely respected. So with that in mind, what I'd love to know is, what do you actually do in your role supporting that impressive brand?
Yeah, as you mentioned, my title is Commercial and Business Development. I'm responsible to handle the customer, to make sure that they stay with us. And I'm also acquiring new customer, pricing on all the new products. And the other part of it is business development. And I'm focusing on international development.
Okay, brilliant. So just to put that in two segments, obviously, and I like the way you put that your aim is to keep customers and get new customers. As far as keeping them, their expectations for consistency and further improvements, as is the same pressures all around the rest of the industry, that's an incredible task. How do you relay what their expectations are with your operational colleagues?
Well, actually, we met with customer very frequently, as you see. Actually, I think we met in different conferences and things, and we are very active in approaching them. I think when we visit the headquarters, and we actually also meet them we just communicate a lot, and then during that time, we will try to understand what they want. Yep. Of course, this is more on the high level. On the day-to-day level, my operation colleagues would actually get their requirements. And that's when we get to know what they want. And then we try to meet what they need. But sometimes, as you know, it's always a matter of resources. And my responsibility is to make sure that we can actually try to meet that need based on what's available in terms of what we can provide from the limited resources we have. And this is quite important as in my role to make sure that we deliver something which is achievable.
Yeah. No, it's so important. It's so important. And having been involved with many organizations, the most important thing they do is to try and get the contracts. And then you start seeing some of the practical problems that arise. So the transparency and the promise sometimes isn't the same as the delivery, which is something that people need to be mindful and respectful of now, I think, more than ever, especially as you say, there's, resource problems, there's a drain of experience leaving the organization. But what I've got to say is the progression and the continuity of your management team and the philosophy of Hactl in all those years that I've been making visits and having contract discussions with the various heads, whether it be back in Mark's days or Wilson's, there's always been, it's always been stepping forward. So you're definitely doing something right.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's, I actually I grew up in the airport, and I've been with Hactl as my second job. When I'm still in my 20s, started. And then I left for a carrier. Actually, I left for a cargo carrier for more than 13 years. And then I came back a couple of years ago. And actually, you see Hactl growing up, and myself growing up. And that's a very, Hactl has evolved, but there's some basic culture that has been there for a long, long time. And I really appreciate that. And that's the reason I come back, because this is a good place. You have good manager, you have good colleagues, and they treat customer well. Yep. And these are the culture. I think these are the DNAs that are already somewhere in there. Even maybe when you said you visit Hactl in the 80s, that was old high-tech time.
Yeah.
I was not yet, I was born, but I was not yet in the airport. Although I have experience with high-tech, but I think at the end it was there, even before my time, and it just grew up. And with Mark and Wilson building on top of the culture, I think now the company is very mature.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's also why when I mentioned my duties, one of my key responsibility is international development. It's now really the right time that we should share our expertise and our experience and our skills, not to waste it, I would say, because I think we have more to give to the industry and more to share to the industry than what we are doing now.
Yeah, no, that's a great way of looking at it. I would agree with that. You know, it was always, you were always, you know, pitched as the the handling company with the most volumes, with the way you did the technology, the building. Everybody used to come and visit for the sake of getting some insights. And now it's more like you said, it's based on stability. And you've got a wonderful care principle from the management to the employees. Whenever I go there and meet the employees, they always seem to feel as if the management care about them, and everything that you do from the facilities, you know, the way you focus now on sustainability and other changes, they must be very, very pleased to work for Hactl.
Yeah, I think one of the major difference we are from our competitor is that we have a lot of own employed staff.
Yep.
This is in many, I would say in many places you have like subcontractors. Now we have a very small portion, but majority of our staff have been staying with the company for more than, 20 years, 30 years. And each year we give them we have a celebration, we have an award presentation, which celebrate with staff who work for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 35 years. You have people who work 40 years and still working here.
Yeah.
And 40 years, can you imagine that stay with us for 40 years? And this actually is a demonstration of how the staff feel about the company. They feel stable. They feel comfortable working with us for such a long time. And that explains why, during the peak times, it's really difficult. Look at the wallpaper behind me. Now it's blue sky, right? But honestly, outside now it's raining, and it was thunder and lightning just like 10 minutes ago. And but people still really work diligently in the ramp, inside the warehouse. And I think it's kind of home to them. If for people like me, I'm coming back home. For them, they are staying at home. And that's why we want to build, a better future for the company. And that's why you feel people, I hope you feel the people are really happy when you come in, and because they want the company to stay on, to keep going.
Yeah, no, Joanna, it's very evident, and it's clear, that Hactl is an employer of choice, and most of the people they're able to rattle off the reasons why. And I've been there when, some of the people have been awarded and recognised. And it's not about the way management recognise, it's about the people being recognised. And that's a huge difference. It's so much focus on the individuals and true recognition, and it must make them feel very proud and privileged.
Yes. And you know what, apart from our own, rewards or awards to our staff, we also encourage our customer actually to, in case our staff do something which is really good for them, and they send in all these, commendations. Yeah. We actually have this quarterly awards, which we present to our staff. And in case they are being, nominated by our managers or by our customer of having a good service, this is something we do now. And like what you said, I think staff share the small things all add together. It's not just internal, because our customer would also appreciate what they did. Actually, like an extra step for them. And this is, again, I think it's more a cultural thing. Yeah. You cannot teach them to do, you do extra step every, because honestly, that's not extra money for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point, and it's very, very effective. Now, with all of that wealth or those jewels that are in the vault, in your particular role, what do you think are the main challenges moving forward with what you're tasked with, but also what do you see as the main opportunities?
Okay. I think a recent challenge, the very, very recent challenge is the manpower issue in the Hong Kong airport.
Yeah.
And of course, now it's getting better because the government has allowed the importation of labor from mainland China or even from overseas, I would say. But still, with this, it means a cost increment because import labor in Hong Kong is different from some other places. It's not cheap labor. It's basically because Hong Kong use the medium wage to set the salary for the import labor. It means there are actually cost pressures. And with this, as a commercial, we would try to actually persuade customers to buy our service at reasonable price. But what is reasonable? And this is very difficult to judge. And but this is the challenge is that although we have the import labor, still we need to train them up. And there are certain positions that they may not be able to take up within a very short time. It means that sometimes we may not be able to entertain 100% of the requests made by our customer. In my position, I sometimes have to work with our operations, our customer service team to persuade the customer that this is what we can offer. And of course, when they are not happy, they will escalate to me and they will say, okay, that may be something they need to put in the contract. And this is where the challenge is coming from. I need to make sure that they pay the relevant price and still stay with us. And sometimes this could be challenging.
Of course.
But of course, in like what I shared just earlier, and we would try to build a relationship over time to try to make the customer understand that what we are doing is we are trying our best. And this is very important. If they know that you have given effort to improve the situation, to do your best, and normally they would actually support us.
Yeah.
And this is how we manage these challenges.
Yeah. No, I think you're right there. The balance of effort, commitment, and transparency in what you're doing is so important for customers.
Yes.
Because we're a lot more aware now of the way the industry and the world has changed. Now, those are the challenges. What do you see as the primary, opportunities?
In terms of business, well, I think the opportunity now is more on there are actually two. In case you are talking about Hong Kong airport, we actually have some opportunities because, the third runway has been built.
Yeah.
Actually, it's completed. But the 3 runway system has not been put in place. It will be in place in the end of this year.
Yeah.
Because the middle runway was closed for maintenance. And with this 3 runway system, it means more airlines would be coming.
Yeah.
And we would have the chance of getting more customers and more business. So in terms of Hactl in Hong Kong, I think we have very good opportunity for growth. As long as we can get this labor, well-trained and put into our force. But I will leave this to the operation colleague to answer to that part of the question.
Yeah.
And then, so this is more on the local side. I think the cake would get bigger because the airport will also try to attract more carriers and more business in passenger or cargo. Because otherwise, what's the point of building a new runway, right? The point is that we were congested. We have limited slots in the past, but now hopefully from next year, basically this restriction in the airport will all be lifted, and we will have our customer increasing frequencies. We have seen new airlines coming, and this is I would say the local opportunity. While as I mentioned, internationally, we are also looking at different opportunities because with the expertise and I would say reputation of Hactl, I think there we have quite a good attraction to some of the airports who want to upgrade their facilities, upgrade their services. And but we have yet to let people know that we are also looking at different opportunities overseas. And these are more the internal and external opportunities that we see from the commercial side.
No, very good. And I'm pretty sure a lot of doors will open and people will want to hear what Hactl has got to say. So, Joanna, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always. And please say hi to Wilson and the rest of the team.
Yeah, I will do.
Look forward.
Thank you for, thank you for giving me the opportunity
No,
to share what I do.
It's our pleasure. Our pleasure. Thank you so much, Joanna.
Thank you, Chris.